Hey Smurf fans, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever had one of those days where the rain just won't stop and all your big plans get washed away? Well, that's exactly what happened in the Smurf village just the other day. The sky turned a grumpy gray, and soon, a steady pitter-patter turned into a full-blown downpour. You know how it is. Smurfs love being outdoors, picking Smurf berries, playing hide-and-seek in the forest, or helping Papa Smurf with his experiments, but this rain was serious business. Puddles turned into ponds, and the little Smurf river started to swell. Papa Smurf, with his wise and calming presence, declared it a village-wide inside day. No Smurf was to wander into the soggy forest. At first, it sounded kind of fun. A day off, right? But soon, a bit of gloom started to creep in, just like the dampness in the air. Grumpy Smurf was, well, extra grumpy. "I hate rainy days," he muttered, staring out his window at the endless drips. Vanity Smurf was distraught because the humidity was threatening to ruin his perfectly coiffed hat. And Brainy Smurf? He was pacing back and forth, frustrated that his grand lecture on the aerodynamics of a flying Smurf had to be postponed. Even Hefty Smurf, usually so full of energy, was feeling restless. He tried doing push-ups in his mushroom house, but it just wasn't the same as lifting heavy logs in the fresh air. It seemed like the gray clouds outside were casting a shadow over everyone's mood inside. The village, usually buzzing with happy activity, was quiet and a little bit sad. Then Smurfette had an idea. She saw how down everyone was and decided that a rainy day didn't have to be a ruined day. She remembered an old, dusty chest in Papa Smurf's laboratory, filled with forgotten treasures. With a little convincing, she got Papa Smurf to agree. They lugged the heavy chest into the center of the village square, right under the biggest mushroom awning where everyone could gather without getting wet. Curiosity got the better of everyone. One by one, the Smurfs emerged from their homes, drawn by the excitement. What was in the chest? Gold? Magic potions? Grumpy Smurf grumbled. "It's probably just more of Brainy's boring books." But even he couldn't resist a peek. With a creak, Papa Smurf lifted the lid, and inside, there was no gold, there were no magic potions. Instead, it was filled with old Smurf toys, half-finished board games, a dusty old lute, and a big, thick book with a warm blue cover. It was a scrapbook, filled with pictures and memories from years gone by. As they started flipping through the pages, something wonderful began to happen. They saw pictures of their very first Smurfberry festival, a snapshot of Hefty as a little Smurfling trying to lift a pebble, and a drawing of Brainy's first wobbly invention. Laughter started to fill the air. They remembered the time they all worked together to build the dam, and the winter they were snowed in and told stories for a week straight. Handy Smurf pulled out a half-finished model of a windmill. "Hey, I remember this!" he exclaimed. "Jokey, you and I were building this before that great Smurfberry hunt." Jokey Smurf, for once not holding an exploding present, grinned. "Yeah, let's finish it." Soon, they were working together, their earlier restlessness completely forgotten. Nearby, musician Smurf picked up the dusty lute. He tuned it carefully and started to play a soft, gentle melody. It wasn't his usual loud tooting. It was a sweet, thoughtful tune that seemed to match the rhythm of the falling rain. Smurfette and some of the others started to hum along, their voices blending together in a beautiful, impromptu choir. Even Brainy found his audience. He didn't give a lecture, but he did start reading a story from one of the old books in the chest. It was a tale of brave Smurf adventurers on a quest for a legendary glowing Smurfberry. Everyone gathered around, listening intently, captivated by the story. For a moment, they weren't stuck in a rainy village. They were on a grand adventure. Grumpy Smurf, who had been watching from the sidelines, saw Vanity looking sadly at his reflection in a puddle. "Your hat looks fine," Grumpy mumbled. Vanity looked up, surprised. "Really, you think so?" Grumpy just shrugged, but a tiny smile played on his lips. It was a small moment, but it was a moment of connection. The afternoon wore on, filled with shared activities and rediscovered memories. They played board games, finished old projects, and told stories. The rain was still falling outside, but no one seemed to notice anymore. The gloom had been replaced by a warm, cozy feeling of togetherness. They weren't just a bunch of individual Smurfs stuck in their houses. They were a family, sharing a space and enjoying each other's company. They learned something important that day. They realized that friendship isn't just about the sunny days and big adventures. It's also about the quiet moments, about being there for each other when things are a little gloomy. It's about turning a boring, rainy day into a warm memory just by being together. The real treasure wasn't in the chest. It was the friendship they were sharing right there, under the big mushroom awning. As evening approached, the rain finally softened to a gentle drizzle. The sky began to clear, and a beautiful rainbow stretched across the Smurf village. It was as if the world was smiling down on them. The Smurfs stepped out, breathing in the fresh, clean air. The day they thought was ruined had turned into one of the best days they could remember. And so the rainy day ended not with grumbles and sighs, but with smiles and a renewed appreciation for one another. It was a perfect reminder that no matter what the weather is like outside, you can always make your own sunshine when you're with good friends. Thank you so much for joining us for this little story from the Smurf village. I hope it brought a little sunshine to your day. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure. See you next time.